Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm so glad you are joining us today. Our guest is Teresa. She is a dragon channel healer, well-being thought leader, and speaker, and RN for 20 plus years. She facilitates intimate group experiences, including transformational healing retreats, women's empowerment events, and dragon sound healings. Her superpower is being able to see through the surface and help you to break up with your fear and release the blocked energy so you can find peace, joy, fulfillment, and remember the powerful soul you are. She primarily works with the Dragon Collective, archangels, and her shaman ancestors as a clear channel to assist in your transformational journey of awakening. Teresa is a motivational speaker and has been featured in the New York Times, US News and World Report, Weight Watchers, and other publications. Welcome, Teresa. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Kayla. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
And as the first question that I ask everyone, what is your definition of a balanced life?
Well, there's no true balance. I feel like a balanced life is going with the ebbs and flows. So know that there's the hills and the valleys. Know that, every time you hit an obstacle, that there's always going to be a solution. It may not be the easiest
Mm,
solution, but there always
yeah.
is going to be not just one, but several. And really trusting that no matter what decision that you make, it is always going to be the right one.
I love that. That is something that I actually tell my clients often is there is no right and a wrong choice. Whatever choice you make is the choice that you were supposed to make because a lot of us, I think, get so caught up in what if I make the wrong decision or what if I don't go down the path that I'm supposed to go down. But
Mhm.
the truth of it is, whatever choice you make, that's the choice you were supposed to make.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that is a belief that more of us are embracing because we've realized, that imperfection is a part of life. We've realized that
Yeah.
perfection, this ideal that we've lived by for so many years, is unrealistic. And I think oftentimes we know it's unrealistic, but it's just this past conditioning that has stuck with
Mm-hmm.
us,
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, and all these unconscious, subconscious beliefs and thoughts and the reflexes that we have every day, it just becomes so
Yeah.
normal that we don't realize what it has been doing in a negative way,
Mhm.
things that have not
Oh,
served
yeah.
us.
Mhm. Mhm. And because what I've seen is when we're so focused on trying to make the right decision or being so nervous of choosing the wrong one, it completely blocks out our creativity to see the different paths, the different solutions, like you said, that are right in front of us. Because when we come out, like you said, when we come up to obstacles, there's always a solution. But if we're not open to whatever that solution is, all the possibilities, it makes it so much harder to move forward.
Yeah. And it also reminds me of like this phrase that I hear all the time and things that I also share with my clients and the people who in my audience is, your job is the what, knowing
Mm,
what you want.
mhm,
The how is, you know, you give it to God, you give it to the universe, you give it to your
yeah,
higher power, you give it to higher self, whoever that is, and
mhm,
so back to your point is that when you stay open to the solutions or the answers or the opportunities that you're waiting for,
mhm,
it'll be something out of left field because now your energy is receptive to be able to receive something different, something that you normally
mm,
maybe would not normally have selected or chosen or thought of or been inspired by.
yeah. So tell us more about what it is that you do. For someone who hasn't heard of what energy healing is or what that entails, can you expand more on that?
Yeah, so we all have an energy field or an auric field is the
Mm,
same thing. And you can think of it as this energy bubble, and we're at the center of it. And there's a lot of different layers within this auric field, but to make it very simple, basically your energy field holds your experiences. So your stress, your
mhm,
joy, your frustration, your happiness, your grief, your
mm,
suffering, all of that. And because we are around people all the time, whether it's virtually or physically, our energy fields are meshing with others.
mm. Okay.
And so I always like to use the example of the grocery store. You go in after work, you're kind of already stressed because you've been in meetings every day. And remember, you're mixing up your energy with everybody's energy. So now you're feeling their stress,
Mhm.
you're feeling their worries, all the things that weigh on us every day. And this is all the high emotions and the low emotions, it's all the span of the
Yeah.
emotions. And you go to the grocery store, you don't know anybody, but you're passing by them. And again, your
Mhm.
energy then gets meshed, it's like this, and you don't know what you're picking up. So people come to me oftentimes when they're just completely exhausted,
Mhm.
physically, mentally, emotionally, and they don't know what's theirs anymore, meaning they don't know what their beliefs are, their ideas. They're so confused. And
Mm.
I think that we can all agree that when we feel stress, that is energy. It's not
Mhm.
like stress is an orange that wants someone stuck into your shoulders. It's energy that
Yeah.
you took on. So why
Mhm.
wouldn't it make sense then to be able to remove that stress
Mhm.
through energy? And that's basically what I do. I use the energy, they call it life force energy, whether it's, through the earth, through nature, through archangels, through
Mhm.
source, through the universe, through God. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
throw out all these different ways that people can relate to energy
Yes.
and use that energy to help remove the things that are keeping people from
Mm.
living their best life. And we're all healers. When you give someone a hug, it is very
Mhm.
healing, especially when it comes from a
It
place of
is.
love, right? Like you
Yeah.
feel it and you feel it in your body. So we all have to acknowledge that that is real. And when we speak our words, especially when it comes from a place of compassion and empathy, and you receive it, you again feel it in your body and it is
Mm.
so healing. And you know those people who are
Yeah.
natural healers because you naturally gravitate to them unintentionally dumping your worries onto them, but it's
Yes.
because they are this safe space. They are this light. You're like literally magnetize them because you know that they offer you this type of relief, this type of
Mhm.
solace, this type of healing. So that's kind of like the simple way of sharing with you what I do.
Mm. That is so funny because it answers my question that I had for myself. Earlier in January, I took a day where I just did whatever I wanted just celebrate myself. My birthday is at the beginning of January. And so, but my actual birthday landed on a day where my kids were going to be home from school. So I wanted to be able to have peace with myself on a different day where I could do whatever I wanted. And I had set up an appointment to get my nails done,
Mhm.
and I was excited to go and relax. Well, the woman who was doing my nails spoke the entire time, just spilled her life story to me, and I didn't say a word. I just was like, where do I go? I've never been here before. She pointed me in the direction, and that was really the extent of our meeting. And I came home and I told my husband, I was like, what is it about me that people just want to spill their life story that they don't even know who I am? And it's funny because that your response just answered that question, that people can just feel that energy in other healers. They can
Yes.
kind of tell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can tell.
And how did you get into this specific field of healing? I know that you've been a nurse for over
Mm,
20 years, so
yes.
I know that may have been the initial start. It may have not. What came first, the nursing healing or this energy healing?
The nursing healing for sure. It was my desire to help people,
Mm,
during my nursing interview, because I had to apply, I had to go through an interview to get into this particular school. They had asked
okay.
me, why do you want to be a nurse? And, I was 18 and I just had this vision of like, and I said this to her. I said, well, I want to change the world, but I didn't know
Mm,
really what that meant. It was just
yeah.
like this idealized vision. And, I was like young and
Mm,
energized and naive. And then I became a nurse and I realized, holy crap, this is not what I thought it was.
mhm,
Yes, you are helping people heal in so many ways, but there's also other responsibilities and other
mhm,
interactions that you have, with providers and other nurses and other healthcare workers and families. And it really burnt me out, actually. And I burnt me out,
mm,
I think, because I was such a giver. I just always wanted to give more and give more and give more and do my best.
mm,
And also that
yeah.
whole expectation of being perfect, was
Mm,
a big thing. One, because if I made a mistake, I could lose my license. So there was that.
yeah.
So I had to be very careful, and I would come home so high strung, reviewing every single step that I did. Did I give this medication? Oh my God, did I give it to the right person even? Did I
Yeah.
forget? Did I forget to do a step? Did I forget the
Mhm,
dressing
mhm.
change? Like all these things. But I also realized, like that being a nurse helped me to understand what it meant to be a healer, because it wasn't
Mhm.
just, putting the medicine in the medicine cup. Like you are that person that a patient sees every single day. The doctor comes in and he checks on the patient, but the nurse,
Yeah.
she is
Mhm,
there 24/7. She is there building the relationship. She is there building the trust. She is there
mhm.
encouraging, giving tough love, everything
Yeah.
that a patient needs to empower themselves to
Mm,
get better, even if it hurts,
yeah.
even if they don't want to do it, even if they're tired. We're there to empower them to heal their bodies, heal their minds, heal their souls. And again, eventually I just got burnt out. I didn't know
Mm,
what else to do because I knew I wanted to help people. And I went a slightly different direction into something called nursing informatics. And it got
oh,
me into healthcare, but in the corporate setting. And
oh,
while I was in that corporate setting, something within me was like, this is not what I'm
mm,
meant to do. And at that time, I also had like a side hustle and I was trying to build that. It was like just another business. I was
okay.
trying to build it while I was working full time. I was stuck. I didn't know how to grow it anymore. I had gotten to this
Mm,
point where I couldn't get past a certain number, and
okay.
tried everything, like hired marketing coaches, mindset
Yeah.
coaches, um, strategy coaches. And I did those things, but I
Mhm.
still couldn't get past it. So I'm like, it must be some sort of energy thing. And I was really new to that. I had no idea what it was. I've heard
Mm,
about it and I thought, why not explore? This is kind of like my
yeah.
last ditch resort. And I went to a Halloween party, and it just so happened that well, I already knew it was going to this guy was going to be there, but he was a medium. So mediums are people who
Okay.
speak to people who have passed on. And I thought,
Mhm.
oh, I could get answers here. It'll be fun
Yeah.
and spooky, and I could get answers here. So I went in with the mindset of, I'm going to get answers on how to up level in my business. And the
Mm.
complete opposite happened. He gave me nothing, nothing that I could apply to my business. Instead, he told me all this woo stuff about being a healer and how I was going to do this work. And, I don't have to like go and run and, study or like go learn from different mentors or coaches. Like this
Mm.
ability to do it is just going to come naturally. So I left the reading very disappointed because I
Mm.
didn't get the outcome that I wanted, the answers that I
Yeah.
wanted. So then I'm like, okay, well, I know it's still energy. I'm going to hire another mentor. So basically, long story short, through years of seeking mentorship from spiritual healers, I've gotten to this point today where I've stepped into my own purpose, my own knowing, my own,
Mm.
unique blueprint of me as a healer, as a human, as a soul. But it started because I knew there was like this calling to do something else. I knew that where I was wasn't where I wanted to be. And I had to explore. And it wasn't an instant thing. I had to explore. And there was a lot of
Mm.
resting. There was a lot of like, okay, here's a really powerful experience that I had. But then I had to pull back and just
Mm.
rest for like a year, for example. And then I went
I can
back.
imagine.
Yeah, I went back and, explored more. And then it was too much. Then I had to like pull back. But all that pulling
Mm.
back is what I like to call integration. It's you like stepping back to understand what it is that you need to learn from this particular
Mm-hmm.
event or epiphany or experience, because we have these big
Yes.
experiences, but then we need time to figure out what we're going to take from it, and then also take the action to get towards the outcome and the desires and the life
Yeah.
that we want.
Mm-hmm. And I think relating that to burnout specifically, I think a lot of times people are like, I just need to keep doing, doing, doing so that I can reach this next goal or I can do this thing for my family. And they keep doing, doing, doing. But with all the doing, there's no pause and reflection. And that pause and reflection is so important to make sure you're learning the things that you're needing to take from these experiences and to figure out if this is the right direction for you.
And self-reflection and
Hmm.
self-awareness is so important. I don't think people understand the importance of that. And that happens when you give
Yes.
yourself that rest, right? Because when you are more self-aware, you catch those patterns so much faster.
Hmm.
Suddenly, it's just like
Absolutely.
you make that action, you say that thing, and then you're like, wait a second, you know, did I just say that? Or you might say, why did I do that? Or you might say, man, I do that a lot.
Mm.
Things that
Yeah.
we don't usually do, things that we usually just plow through without even thinking about, right?
Hmm. And I'm really glad you brought that up because there was this quote slash question that I had saw on your website and I really wanted to bring it up and this is the perfect place. But the question is, when was the last time you truly felt connected to your inner self, confident in who you are and why you are here? That is such an impactful, powerful question for us to be asking ourselves.
And I think that overwhelms people because they feel like my purpose is this big old thing. But what you don't realize is your purpose changes all the
Mhm.
time. So maybe your purpose for now was being, a stay-at-home mom or a
Mhm.
career, a working mother, um, raising children at the same time. And
Yeah.
for a phase, that was true. But now your purpose is evolving. It's not that it's not
Mhm.
true. It's just that it's evolving. There's more, and there's always going to be
Mhm.
more, but in a good way. The more should
Mhm.
not make you feel overwhelmed. The more should make you feel curious and excited and expansive and like on the
Mhm.
edge of your seat, like, oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I know something good is coming. Like that is the type of more and
Mhm.
experience that you should have when you think about purpose.
Yeah. And tying that back to what you said in the beginning, where instead of looking at the how, just releasing the how and looking at the what would that look like to live out this purpose? And leaving the how to universe, God, source, how, whatever you want to call that means to you.
Yes. And staying open to trying different things,
Mm,
even if you don't think you'll like it, because we judge so
yes.
much, right? Like
Oh,
I have said,
yes.
oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But did you even try it? You have to try
Hmm.
it. You know, like
Yes.
I'm trying to think of something that I didn't think I'd like. Pickleball. I'll use a recent one
Okay.
because I am not a sporty person. I work out. I go to the gym, but I'm not like athletic. That high end, the eye hand coordination doesn't work
Okay.
with me.
Yeah.
So my husband was like, okay, let's try playing pickleball. And I was like, no, I'm not going to play sports with you. But he got me to practice in the house. So we put the
Okay.
couch in the middle of the house or in the room, and we started, volleying back and forth. And I was like, oh, this isn't as hard as I thought it would be. One, the paddle's really big, and two, the ball's
Okay.
really big.
Yeah.
So, and he was making
Yes.
it so that it would be easy for me to be able to hit the ball
Mm,
back and forth. My point is, you don't know if you're going to like something or really resonate with it unless you at least try it.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So when you're thinking about purpose, when you're thinking about the solutions or whatever it is, the thing that you're trying to get to, try all sorts of things
Mm,
so
mhm.
that, man, you'd be so surprised as to the type of answers that you'll receive, the feelings that you're going to feel when you connect to that experience or answer that you would
Mhm.
never have thought of or wanted to do.
Oh, yeah. And I think that also speaks to staying open to the possibility of things happening in ways you couldn't have even imagined.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that speaks to the importance of just letting go of the how. Because if we're focused on one specific way of meeting a goal or attaining whatever it is that we're wanting to attain, it blocks you from seeing the other possibilities.
Yes.
So letting go of the how opens your creativity and possibility.
Yeah. And I think people don't see the importance of creativity because it's not something that has been prioritized. Creativity is for kids. Visualization is for
Mm,
kids. I don't know how to do that. I don't need that's a waste of time. But creativity is what creates joy. It's like creativity
mm.
is like the new things that creates like the little sparks, the butterflies in your stomach, the
Yeah.
racing heart because you're like getting so excited about something. Like it's like it's the way our body creates the feel good hormones is through
Mhm.
creativity. And so if you're somebody who's more logical thinking, not that logical minds aren't creative, because my husband's a logical brain and he's super creative. But if you're someone who like needs data and evidence for everything, like I challenge you to like allow yourself to be open to doing something completely opposite
Mhm.
of what you would
Yeah.
do if you're in that place where you're wanting to explore, what's next for you. If you're in that
Yeah.
place where you're feeling stuck, something else is calling, you're not currently happy in your life, you feel like something's missing. The creativity part, whatever that is, and it
Mhm.
doesn't even have to be artsy,
Yeah.
it's just something outside of your
Mhm.
normal routine, comfort zone, what you know. It can bring so many gifts.
Absolutely. And I had actually read a study recently, I think it was in Psychology Today, that was talking about different forms of stress relief. And for people who are really analytical and spend a lot of their time maybe looking at data or doing something that's not very creative, something that's going to be a stress relief for them is creative outlets.
Mm.
That's going to be a natural way of resting for them versus someone who works in a more creative field where they're having to use that side of their brain all of the time in that creativity mode, something more mundane and ritualistic, like maybe folding laundry, that's going to give them more rest or relaxation.
Mm. Yeah, and it reminds me of actually who I was in the past.
Mm,
Because I'm super analytical. I still am. I overanalyze all the time. But also having been a nurse, everything is evidence-based. Everything that we
mhm,
do has to have data behind it. And so for a long time, that was me, the
mm,
logical mind. I really pushed away creativity because it was just all foo-foo to me.
mm,
But then realized like that it brings so much more depth and so much more meaning to my life and the things that I do. This
mm.
gift of creativity, which we
Yeah.
all have.
Hmm. And what led you to really accept this energy healing as something that is real and is needed for someone who, like you said, you mentioned you were just so evidence-based, focused, coming from the medical field. There are many medical professionals who will look at this energy healing or anything that seems woo as not real.
Mhm. So it was through my experiences uh, of being the
Mm,
recipient of energy healing that made me the believer. But I
mm,
couldn't receive it unless I was absolutely open and ready to surrender to it.
mm,
So when someone comes into a healing session, if they are coming as a skeptic and already like thinking of all the ways that this isn't going to work, it's not going to work because they're bringing in the energy of resistance. And,
mhm,
when you're blocking the energy that I'm trying to bring into your body to help you release so that you can have more clarity, for example, um, I can't, like, nothing happens. Like, I can't get through to
mhm,
you because you won't allow me to. And that's really important too, is that with energy healing,
mm,
you have 100% control. I don't get to like force myself into your energy field and do whatever I want. I must have your permission
mm,
because it really is your healing. I'm just sort of like this conduit, kind of like a therapist, an energy therapist. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah.
The client is the one that does all the
Mhm.
aha, they have the aha moments, right? And
Yes,
they then
yes.
have to leave and do the work afterwards. And so it's similar to energy healing where I guide you or I guide the energy or
Mhm. Okay.
I help you to get into a space where you feel safe enough to be able to release and
Mm,
then your body does the rest. I'm just sort of like moving the energies around so that your body can maybe bring up something to the surface to let you know, hey, this still needs to be healed.
mm,
Or it might give you like the idea that you're searching for. It might even give you messages from your past loved ones or the
mm,
spirits or energies that you work with. Like people always, I shouldn't say always, but many people always receive messages
mm,
during these sessions because they have just completely allowed themselves to be open, in surrender,
mm.
and
Yeah.
no expectations. They're not trying to
Mhm.
disprove me. They're not trying to like, gather evidence to see this is right or
Yeah.
wrong. So it really is staying open to the experience to be able to receive that experience.
Mm, okay. Can you tell us more about how you deliver those things? I
Yes.
know I had seen on your website that, so we're recording this in January. So this next week after we're recording, January 25th, I believe, was your next retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us more about what those look like?
Yeah. So it's hard to put into words the types of things that people experience because this isn't your girls' weekend or your average yoga retreat. And I don't mean that in a bad way or in a negative way. Just that the yoga retreats I know of are more relaxation,
Right.
which is great. But the types of retreats I hold are life transformative
Mm,
within a weekend. People are leaving feeling completely different than the person that walked through that door. They're leaving with clarity, with freedom, with peace, with direction, with this newfound purpose, with just this burst of energy and desire to like be in the world again, participate in the world again. And these are a lot of high achievers. They're moms, they're business owners, they're stay-at-home moms that run the show for everybody, they're executives. I mean, they're all people who have a lot on their plate and do a lot for other people. And they're just at this point where they're like, this isn't working for me. I've tried the meds, I've tried therapy, I've tried other retreats. And so, because my retreats, I market them as we use dragon energy. And so they're like, okay, dragons, this must be real fierce, So it's almost like a last resort because they're so desperate.
Okay,
But you
yeah.
don't have to get to that point. But oftentimes that's the way people approach energy healing is it's a last resort.
Yes. And when
And
you were describing that you have to be open, that's actually what came to my mind is I bet a lot of these people are like, I'm just willing to try anything. They're at that point where they're like, I just need help. And I've tried everything else and I saw this energy thing and I'm like, well, fuck it. Let me just try it.
yes, that's exactly how people come to me. And I'm like, why? I say this at every retreat at the end. I'm like, please don't wait till you get to this point to come to another
Yeah.
retreat. Come
Mm,
when you're like, okay, there's something else. I don't know what it is because the energy that you come in with is so much lighter, so much brighter when there's this desire for an expansion versus a desire to get rid of something. People come to get
yeah.
rid of something. And so that even me saying that sounds dense and it sounds heavy because it is. It's a lot. And you're a therapist, right, Kayla?
Yes.
Yeah. So as a therapist, people come and share their experiences, their trauma, their worries, their stress with you. But I think that also as a therapist, you can agree that, different levels of therapy, different types of therapy, you can only do so much. So if you recommend to a patient, I think what might help in addition might be you sit in the salt bath for 20 minutes or you go get a massage because there is so much stress you're holding on to. So then they
Oh,
go
yes.
and they sit in the bath and they get the massage and they feel better. Because when we massage and we sit in the bath, that is another form of healing. That is another
Yeah.
way to release energy. So they're releasing through talking to you, and now they're releasing through somebody else's touch, through getting the stress and the trauma out of the muscles, and now through the skin. And then energy healing is, the really deep stuff that is stuck within your body, in your organs. It's the things that you cannot put words to. There are no words to describe this energy. And this is why energy healing is effective. And this is why I hold the retreats, because we work with the energy that's within your body. You learn how to work with your own energy to help yourself, to empower yourself to sort of maintain that momentum or learn how to clear your energy field. I work
Okay.
with different spiritual beings.
Okay.
And it's okay if people don't understand. You can just think of it as
Mhm.
God or source energy. Um, and I receive messages and I share that with people.
Mm,
And I don't tell them like that they have to believe what I say. This is just what I'm feeling,
mhm.
what I'm hearing, and I just like to share it with you, and it doesn't have to resonate. And you don't even have to do anything about it or with it.
Yeah.
And that's important for people to know, because when they go to a psychic, a medium, an energy healer, or any of that,
Mhm.
sometimes you give away your power to this person, thinking that they will solve your life's problems.
Mm,
But then
yeah.
you've completely disempowered yourself. You have
Mhm.
to really tune into what resonates with you. And it might be that it doesn't resonate right now, but next year something's going to happen and then you're going to remember that message. That's happened to me so many
Mhm.
times where it doesn't resonate right now. So I'll stay open to it. I won't
Mhm.
completely, reject it, but something will happen
Yeah.
months or a year later, and then I'll remember that statement. Um, so that's what we end up doing at the retreats, is really working with your energy, your body,
Mm,
working within, the places where you've hidden a lot of this trauma, because that's really what it is.
yeah.
Trauma is the pain that we hold deep within our bodies, and we express
Mhm.
it. So we don't always express it through words. We do wild,
Mhm.
safe, wild things and
Yeah.
fun things at the retreat, but it completely takes you out of your comfort
Mm,
zone, because I ask you to do things that you don't normally do in regular everyday life,
mhm.
because that is what you need. You need to shake things up so that you don't
Mhm.
feel like the person who walked in. You need to shake
Mm,
things up to remove all that energy, to remove everything that's not yours, to remove everything that doesn't serve you, so that you can come back to the essence of who you are. This
yeah.
soul being of light. We were all
Mhm.
born as light babies, right? Unconditional love. Everybody
Yeah.
freaking loves babies because they are love. And
Yeah.
that is who we are. That is who we were born with. And through life, we've
Mhm.
had different experiences, we've taken on different beliefs. And, that's part of life too, is to figure out what's true and what's not. And the truth will
Mm,
always be expansive. The truth, what you know, will always make you feel, I don't want to say happy. It's just the truth shouldn't make you feel bad about yourself.
mm,
Feedback from somebody is helpful, but if it makes you feel shame, if it makes you
mm,
feel less than, then that's
yeah.
a truth that doesn't serve you. Yes, absolutely reflect on it. Ask yourself, is this the truth? Ask yourself, where's the evidence? But it might have just been a moment in time. Maybe
Mhm.
you just made a mistake. And so people ask me too, how do you differentiate between your truth and somebody else's truth, and the truth that
Mhm.
I'm receiving from my guides or from God? And I'll always say the truth makes you feel expansive. It makes you feel
Mm,
open. And what's not true will make you feel constricted, heavy, dense.
yeah. I love that. It's a really great visual example.
Mhm.
Not even visual, just I could feel it. Like being open and then being constricted. Like I can visualize and feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But we don't use
Mm,
our bodies enough as a
no.
gauge, as a guide to tell us what is for our highest good and what isn't,
Hmm.
because we're so in our minds, we're so busy. How do we
Yes.
even get
Yes.
these subtle feelings within our body to tell us that, hey, something's not quite right, or maybe we need to shift directions here?
Hmm. Yeah. And I think part of that is a lot of us have been kind of programmed to not pay attention to those things, or those things are not important, or you're supposed to forget about them, or push through, right? Push through the pain, push through the uncomfortableness when your body is telling you so much information. It's giving
Yes,
you so much information.
yes.
And it wants to speak to you, your inner self, your intuition. It wants to speak to you and guide you in the path of your truth, in the path of
Mm-hmm.
your purpose.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We just continue to plow through. We don't
Mhm.
allow ourselves to acknowledge what's the pain, the stress, whatever. It's just normalized, so then it
It
becomes
is.
accepted, and it shouldn't
Mhm.
be. We shouldn't have to accept that we live with so much stress, so much
Yeah.
anxiety, so much
Yeah.
anger, even, resentment, like
Mhm.
all those things that happen because we're not living the life that we desire. And I believe that we can have everything that we want, but we cannot do it all by ourselves. So,
Absolutely.
right? So say
Yeah.
no.
Yes.
You're right? Say no. Like set your freaking boundaries, figure out what that looks like and start practicing them, enforce them, ask for help, delegate.
Mhm.
We have to say no to taking on new obligations
Yeah.
because no matter what, we say no, yes, we're going to feel guilty. But I feel like the more you say no to the things that you really don't want to do, you're going to respect yourself for setting those
Mhm.
boundaries rather than giving up your own freedom to please
Mhm.
somebody else.
Yeah. I love that.
Mhm.
That's great. Say no means you're respecting yourself. You're respecting your time, your energy, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the more you
And
say no, the more you are likely respecting yourself instead of giving away that power to someone else.
yeah. And and to those people who are receiving the no, it's not no forever. Maybe next time it'll be a yes, but it'll be a more
Mhm.
meaningful yes versus
Mhm.
yes, I'll just do it for you, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah, for the person receiving the no, but then for us too, as mothers who desire more, um,
Mhm.
it's the yes. I feel like when I am ready to say yes, then if it feels better, like I'm in it, I'm all in it. There's no resentment, there's no like regret that I have said
Mm.
yes. So it's about really making those choices that you feel good about as well.
Mhm. Yes. So much stuff came out for me when you were saying that. One was when we trust the people that we turn to support or the people that we interact with often, when we trust that they only say yes when they mean it and when they can give them full selves, it's going to be so much more powerful when we get the yes and when we get their help. And
Mhm.
then on the other side, I would challenge the person receiving the no to look at it as that person probably isn't the right person to do
Mm.
this for you in this time. And you're supposed to go ask someone else. You're supposed to receive this help somewhere else.
Yes, I love that. You're
Mm,
totally right because there we go again, right? In terms of setting your expectations on that one single answer or one single person.
hmm.
Because I think people rely on that same person over and over again as well. Always
Yeah.
be, well, they rely on moms to do so much,
Yes.
everything. But there's other people. Other people can help. Other people
Hmm.
may be better even at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we are running out of time. And so are there other offerings that you have besides the retreat? Say, there is not a retreat coming up soon for people, or let me see. How often do you do the retreats? If a retreat is not soon, can people work with you other ways outside of retreats? There we go.
Yes. So I try to do quarterly. If not
Okay.
quarterly, then I do 3 times a year. So there's going to be retreats 3 times a year. So the next one most likely will be April, May timeframe around the Austin, Texas area. And then in terms of wanting to connect with me, and it's possibly not a retreat experience, I do offer private sessions, one-to-one sessions that we do virtually, and it can, it's
Oh,
energy
okay.
healing, but it's
Mhm.
a lot of different services basically within that energy healing session.
Mm.
Yeah. And then I have online courses and mentorships that I'll be launching so
Okay.
that if people are curious about how to be an energy healer or they want to, they
Mm.
resonate with like the energy that I share and want to train as an energy healer working with the higher energies, they can also reach out to me for that.
Awesome. Awesome. And for those of you who are questioning, how does she do this virtually? Like, doesn't she have to be there in person with me? As a therapist, I can with I can tell you, we feel your energy even if it's virtually. Like I still feel when I'm working with clients, I feel what they're feeling. And that's something that I note in sessions. Like if you're working with me as your therapist, it's a collaborative. And I'm going to let you know if I'm feeling stressed during your session, I'm going to let you know because we're mirrors to each other. And so that's really helpful information. So, yes, she can do this virtually because I can do it virtually. And I feel all of that.
Yeah, yeah. Energy is energy. Energy travels
Hmm.
whether you're face to face or, through the computer. So it definitely is effective through virtual sessions as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Teresa, for joining us and giving us more education and clarification on these energy healing opportunities.
Thanks, Kayla. It's been awesome to be on here having this very engaging conversation with you.
Thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.